Alright, today we're going to be making the solar system mobile, and here are all of the different things that you're going to need. First, start by laying out your tablecloth to help clean up messes. Get your bowl, measuring cup, and spoon. The recipe for the salt dough is 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of salt, and 1 cup of water. Mix the flour and salt well before you add the water. You will use the whole cup of water, but add it slowly to the mixture so that you can combine the ingredients really well. Once the dough gets to the consistency where it is sticking to the spoon, you can begin to use your hands and knead it. You can use your dough to start to pick up some of the flour that might have spilled while you were making it, and it will help clean up those messes. Just work it into the dough. Now is a good time to wash your hands, and we'll start to separate our dough into separate pieces. I separated my dough into 7 different pieces, so we have 1 piece for each color of the rainbow and then an extra piece to make sort of a pale blue or white color. Alright, this part can get a little messy. If you have gloves, I recommend that you use them. You can begin to add food dye to each piece of dough. For this red color, I'm using about 6 drops of red or pink, and I'm mixing it inside the bowl. I started this way, but I'm not too afraid of getting supplies on my hands, so I end up moving to my hands and mixing it. They stained my fingers a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. If you have gloves, use them. I found that after mixing it, it wasn't quite bright enough, so I added more food dye to my mix, and I just add it right in the center and then kind of fold it over itself to mix it. Once it's mixed well, put it into a plastic bag to keep it moist until it's ready to use. I only have 4 colors of food dye, and I don't have orange, which means I have to make it. So I added several drops of red and more drops of yellow, and mix it all up just like we did before. It should make a nice orange color. Next is yellow. If your dough feels like it's starting to get dry, add just a little bit of water and rub it into the surface. Not too much or it will get too sticky, and then you'll have to add more flour, which will ruin the recipe. Time for green. Blue. And for purple, you're going to want to add more red drops than blue drops and mix it up just like we did before. To make the pale blue color, I'm going to add just a little bit of dye to my white piece of dough and mix it in. You can add as little or as much as you want. And here's a side-by-side comparison of light blue and dark blue. Don't forget to store your dough in plastic bags to keep it moist. It's time to start making our planets, but before we get too far, we need to take a break and make sure that we know what planets are in our solar system. Well, here they are, all the planets in our solar system. There's a fun way to help you remember all of these different planets. And this is called a mnemonic, a pattern of letters, words, or ideas that help us remember something. If we take the beginning letter of each of the names of each of the planets, we get M, V, E, M, J, S, U, N. From here, we can come up with a fun sentence or phrase that helps us to remember the different planets. The one that I learned was, "My very enthusiastic mother just served us 9 pizzas." The reason I included a P at the end, or the word pizza, is because when I was a kid, Pluto was still considered a planet, but in 2006 that changed and its definition became a dwarf planet. I included Pluto in this lesson today, as well as planet Earth's moon. Alright, we're going to start with the sun. The sun is not a planet, it's a star, and it is the center of our solar system. All of the planets are in orbit around the sun. So I took about half of my yellow, I added just a little bit of water, and I'm using my pincher fingers to create a ball with this chunk of clay. What I need to do is make sure I have a nice, round, smooth ball of the clay or the dough, and what I'm going to do is start to kind of flatten it out with my hand, and then use my pincher fingers again and rotate at the same time to make this sun shape. The sun is very large, so you want to still maintain that round shape, but the dough is very soft, so you'll notice as you're working, it'll start to spread apart a lot. Don't worry about it. This is just a project for fun, and the sun is not perfectly round. It has a lot of movement because of the different gases and flames that are on it, so it looks kind of wonky and kind of wobbly at the same time. Once you're happy with your shape, you can set it down on a cookie sheet with some parchment paper beneath it, and what we're going to be doing is baking these. So as you're waiting, you can put these different planets onto your parchment paper, and it's okay if they start to dry out because we're going to bake them anyway. To stay organized, I just worked with each of the planets as they went in order from the sun. So I used that image that I showed you earlier. You can look up any image on Google to see a diagram of the solar system. The first planet is Mercury. I'm using red and orange and making kind of a couple little worm shapes with my clay. What I'm going to do is twist these together first, and fold them in half, twist them a little bit more, then roll it up into a ball. You can mix the colors up completely, but I like to have the swirls of the different colors to see because then it looks more like a planet. Flatten it out with your fingers, pat it down, and once you're ready and satisfied with the shape, you're going to set it down onto the cookie sheet. Venus is the next planet, and I'm showing you the colors that I'm using. Keep in mind, this is your project. You can use whatever colors that you want to. I just am putting these up as suggestions. You do the same thing, make your little worms, swirl them together, create a ball, flatten it out with your pincher fingers and your hands, and when you're satisfied with the shape, put it on the cookie sheet. To make the ring for Saturn, you're going to create a worm, or what's actually referred to as a coil, just like so. And remember, the dough is soft, so it does break easily. I found this to be pretty tricky. Just do the best that you can. Make a long coil, as long as you can, that will stay together. And then place it on top of your planet Saturn. You can see me rearranging it and trying to keep it together. And gently wrap it around the back, flip it over and tried to connect your two pieces. My piece broke, as you can see here, so I just took it and overlapped it on top, and you sort of squish it back together. This was the most challenging planet to make, but you can just do the best that you can and that will be great. If you can think of a different way to make the rings, I encourage you to try it. Now you'll need a skewer or a pencil, and you're going to use the sharp end of one of those tools to create small holes in the top of your planets. This is where we're going to connect the string in order to attach it to the mobile. Now, when I got done with this video, I realized that I made an extra planet somehow, so if you notice that in there, I don't know why I did that, but I added it to my mobile anyway. Maybe it could be a moon, or maybe it's just some mystery planet. That's alright. We're meant to just have fun with this. When you make the holes, you kind of rotate the stick or the skewer or the pencil in a circular fashion so that you make the hole wide enough for the yarn or string to go through. Set your oven to 250 degrees Fahrenheit and place the planets inside. Set the timer for 2 hours and let them bake. Once they're finished, remove them from the oven and set them in a place where they can cool. While the planets are cooling, we'll begin to construct our mobile. For this part, you need clippers, 2 skewers or sticks, and wire or twist tie. If you're using skewers, you know that one end is dull and the other end is very pointy. I already clipped the pointy end off of one. Now I'll carefully clip the pointy end off of this one. Get a parent to help you with this if you're not comfortable. And now they're less dangerous. So I can begin to put this together. What I'm going to do is take the 2 skewers, cross one over the other to make a T. Then I take my wire, or twist tie in this case, and leaving just a little bit of a tail, I'll use my thumb to hold it down and wrap that little tail down beneath it, and then take the longer side and wrap it around again. As you can see, it went across the bottom, and now I'm going to wrap it through this side part, underneath, and across that way, and I'm going to wrap it along the side just slightly, all the way underneath, and going opposite ways each time. I kind of pull really hard on it while I'm holding it with my other hand so that I make sure that the sticks aren't too wiggly or loose. Once both of the ends are of similar length, you're going to connect them by twisting them together and leaving a little bit of space so that you can use this to hang up on a hook or a string later from the ceiling or from a tree or anywhere you feel like displaying your mobile. The skewers or sticks will still be able to shift, so if one is a little bit shorter than the other, just simply wiggle it to get it even on all 4 sides. Now it's time to attach string to our planets and attach them to the mobile. I'm going to start with the sun right in the center, since the sun is at the center of our solar system. And as you can see, I'm examining these different planets. The way that they turned out, I was a little disappointed because of some of the wrinkles, but I think the texture is actually kind of cool. And I feel like the more you made the salto and the more that you practiced with it, maybe the less you'd get cracks like that, and maybe there wouldn't be bubbles. I don't know, but they ended up to be really hard and really sturdy. This piece is Pluto, and I tried to put a glaze on it with Elmer's glue and water, and this is what it ended up like. So don't do that unless you want it to look white. Don't put a glaze on it. That didn't work, but I'll deal with it. All right, here's one that I've already attached the string to. I'm going to instruct how to tie this first knot, and then I'll speed through tying the rest of it for you. Alright, if you're using yarn and it's freshly cut on one side, it should be pretty easy to get through these holes. But if you need a little bit of help, you could use a sharp skewer or a needle to kind of help push the thread through, depending on what you're using. So go ahead and pull it through. Take that short end and wrap it over the top of the long piece so it comes all the way underneath. And you're going to take that end, put it through that first loop, and you can see under my thumb I've left a loop. From the beginning, I'll put my little tail piece through there, and once I get it, pull it tight. And this is a type of slip knot, so as I pull on the longer piece, I can pull the knot all the way down to the planet, and this knot will not come out. It'll be nice and secure for our planets to be connected to the mobile. So let's go ahead and watch that one more time with a different planet. Sorry, it's out of focus. Right through the hole. I'm going to put the tail end through that first loop, then back through that little second loop, pull it tight, pull the knot down to the planet, and it's secure. Okay, time to attach the planets to the mobile. So I go ahead and hold it right at the center here. I'm going to connect my sun first, right in the middle. It's going to be the only one in the center. And just use a similar kind of knot to connect the planets onto the mobile. If you want to, you could use a square knot, but it's totally up to you, whatever works well for you. Go ahead and play around with adjusting the length at which you want the sun to be. I recommend having it a little bit closer to the base of the mobile, and then all of the other planets will fall down around that. Use your scissors to trim off extra long ends, not too short so that you don't cut it off of the mobile. You can begin to add your other planets, placing them where you'd like. Again, I went in order of where the planets are according to the distance that they are from the sun, but of course it's not completely accurate on this mobile. Play around with the different lengths and see what you like the best. After struggling for a little while by myself, I found it way easier to have Brody hold the mobile up while I attached the different planets. That way it was nice and sturdy and I could visualize how it was going to look when it's actually hanging. So if you have somebody to help you, see if they can hold onto it for you. If not, maybe you can hang it from a hook that you already have somewhere in your house, or maybe from a curtain rod or somewhere where you can have it sturdy enough to be able to attach the planets. And there you have it. It's completed. this is where I'm displaying mine for now. I think it turned out pretty cool. I hope that you'll share yours with me, send them to my school email, and let me check out your solar system mobiles. Have fun!